Alright, welcome everyone to the EarthBound Super Series. I am LL Temple. We will get started very soon here. We're just waiting for both racers to ready up. I will be joined shortly by Phalix1 on commentary. We'll just get him up on Skype.
Alright, can you hear me?
Yeah, Phalix. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Excellent.
Are we on the channel yet?
We are live.
Alright.
So yeah, welcome everyone. We're just about to get started here. Races are about ready. SRL is down unfortunately, but we're going to get things kicked off pretty soon here.
I might need to be turned up on your end.
Okay.
They're saying from chat. I'm not gonna yell louder, RBM.
Silence, we're just going to do a countdown in the EarthBound chat.
Alright.
Raiders, thank you, thank you. Alright, we're just about ready to start here.
Alright, I got multi-twitch up. I'm good to go.
Excellent.
Who do we get the raid from? And also, can people hear me better now?
Okay, there goes Daniel. So we just have the racers start with shifting their cursors around here just to make sure no one's RNG manipulating or anything.
Yeah, double my volume.
Yeah, I just cranked them up. Hopefully it's a little better.
Yeah. Yeah, for stuff like this, I use my headset.
Okay.
Let's see how much of a delay I have. Restart silver. Okay. All right, I'm synced up on my end, so I'm good to go. Well, I'm going to start explaining.
Okay, so for anyone unfamiliar with the route here, Earthbound in general, a lot of the time what you'll see in this glitchless category is people manipulating through Onett, but for this race category, we've chosen not to do that just because it would give an unfair advantage to certain racers. So we'll be seeing no manipulation here, just a straight up Onett.
Yeah, well, anyone could learn the manipulation. It's a lot more technical type of thing to learn. So people who are just wanting to get into the game, that's a little bit more of a daunting task. So the reason we left that out is this is kind of a thing to help get people into running, get more people interested into it. So RNG manipulation is just not a good call for this. But this first little section, there's not much going on. Just running up to Pokey, saying hello, and running back to the house. Doesn't really get interesting until about 4 minutes into it, whenever we leave the house for the second time.
Yeah, you'll be seeing both racers kind of doing the same thing here. There's not much going on. They'll be getting some enemy spawns on the second pass through here.
Yeah, that is another thing with the RNG manipulation, is if one person does happen to miss it and the other person gets it, it's not very interesting to watch at all, because even though someone could have a really bad death here and get set back, with the RNG manipulation, you're set back like 8 minutes and you can't do anything about it. So it just makes it a lot easier to watch when both people are doing, or just at the mercy of what the game hands them. At least on my end, I have Sylverfyre a little behind just because of the delay, but timers, I think, yeah, they're about the same. Because right now, the only thing that's really going to distance them at the moment is going to be text smashing. But both these guys are both efficient at text smashing. There's not a lot of detail about that with EarthBound. It's just hit the button. But when he walks out the door the next time, we will have spawns. And since there's no manipulation, they could have anything from no spawns all the way up to the meteor to an absolute zoo just right out in the front yard.
Yeah, I think Silver's just slightly behind. I have the same kind of lag as well, or distance between the two guys. So we're gonna see what Daniel gets outside the house here. Both players dealing with spawns. It's something you'll see a lot in EarthBound. Speedrunning and kind of casual play is this kind of despawning, getting the enemies to the edge of the screen. Just kind of, they disappear. They'll respawn.
You gotta drag them about 20% off the screen. I think for some enemies, I feel that it does need a little bit more room than just about 20%. But we do run into the problem that if you may despawn something and then you run back and something else is spawned and then you run back over towards where you wanted to despawn the enemy and they're not gone, and then you're caught in just a good old pickle.
And
you're gonna have to take a fight.
Getting behind that tree there, that's good experience. Just hiding behind. You saw a little stutter step there. You'll be seeing a lot of that this race.
Stutter stepping is a good mechanic to learn. It is essentially moving about frame by frame with your movements. There are some types of enemies that only move whenever you move, but they only move, I think, like every 2 or 3 frames. So if you're able to move in smaller intervals than that, the enemy actually won't be able to move at all, and you can just kind of dance around them. The snakes are the only thing that are like that in this outdoor area, but everything in Giant Step will be like that. So runners that have kind of learned how to stutter step and do it quickly, that is a really big advantage for them over the course of the tournament. And just another little section of text mashing. We will be coming up on Starman Jr. Starman Jr. without manipulation is a bit of a headache. You can't die in this route. The only possible way you can die is actually if you get level 12 and get shields and you have him kill you after you get the shield up. But he could do anything from doing a guard, doing a freeze, or doing a fire alpha or beta. And the fires, they eat up about an extra 4.5 seconds, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to sit there and mash text and hope that Buzz is gonna help you out there.
The average run has been about an hour and a half, sometimes usually less, but on average about an hour and a half. Very similar to the FF4 category.
So with Daniel coming up to Starman again, if he just gets fired constantly, it's a time waste. He could sit there and guard. What you want to see is you want to see a guard, and then you want to see 2 good hits from Buzz. And unfortunately, he did not get that.
Yeah, these fires really eat up a lot of time. The Starman can do a few moves. Guard is what you're looking for. Ice is a little better. Fire takes up a lot of time.
And of course, Buzz can also hit for like 17, which is very unfortunate because he can hit for like up to 150. So it's really sad whenever you get a bunch of fires and you also have a Buzz hit for his absolute minimum. Yeah, they're both getting a good amount of bad spells here. Neither one of them are having an anywhere near ideal.
RNG is going to be a big factor throughout this race. It's a major factor in EarthBound, and you're kind of seeing the first signs of it here.
We're still very close. It's one thing to note that even if something does happen here in the early sections, and I mean, even if we get a minute, 2, or even 3+ minutes separating us, we've had races that were 3 or 4 minutes apart from each other, and it's come down to the wire. Because this game can really sway things. And poor Daniel here has our record for Protoplasm deaths, and we'll explain that a little later. But he had one enemy kill him, I think 4 times in a row, and then on the 5th time he barely won. And that let his opponent catch up to him significantly.
So Onett here is a huge hurdle. Anyone who's played the game knows that, whether casually or speedrun. Onett is just a major issue. So we're going to see how both guys do here. Onett has been pretty much, if you get a good Onett or a bad Onett, it makes your race, the whole thing. So we're going to see a lot of things go down in Onett here. Like I said, it's a huge hurdle. The difficulty level is pretty tough. But once you're past it, things kind of smooth out. These guys will be looking to finish on it in about a half hour.
Yeah, especially with no manipulation at all, even no Starman manipulation. Around 30 to 32 minutes, I'd say, has probably been the average for Deathless. A few times we've had people get out under 30. But without any form of manipulation, getting out under 30 minutes is very lucky.
Oh, Silver stuck in a position that is not enviable.
Yeah, he's going to have to take a fight there. Taking a fight, it's not a huge detriment. It does hurt. If he gets his bread roll stolen, that sucks. But Yeah, it shouldn't happen. It'll at least give him enough extra experience that I think this should give him another level. I don't remember if the crow will. I think, is it just the dog?
Give him
Yeah,
a level.
yeah. So he has the extra level.
Which is nice. We'll be going into Pogo Punks here, so having that extra level is actually kind of nice.
Actually, I just realized something. I should probably check, see if I'm synced up with you. On my screen, Silver just left the treehouse.
Yeah, that was about the same. We're about synced up. So Daniel approaching the first Pogo Punks here. He's gonna want to fight this guy out here. The first one. There's gonna be 3 total enemies that he's gonna fight before Frank.
And this is done. This guy is optional. You could go without him, but he does give an extra hamburger, and it does set you up for your levels to be pretty good. Generally, after we beat Frank, you'll get an extra bit of psychic points, and you'll be able to do an extra life up. So fighting that guy is just a safety that's always been done. Or, I mean, and not so much of a safety as much as near a necessity, because Frank is very hard if you don't have that last level. And the second Pogo Punk not going as well for him. The Pogo Punks can do an attack that does in the low teens, a smaller attack that does 3 or 4 damage, or they can just waste a turn, and they can also miss. They tend to have pretty low accuracy. But again, these first 2 ones do give you a guaranteed hamburger. And Silver grabbing the fruit juice, the beloved fruit juice stats. Generally, this is something I'll do if I take one of the charge forward attacks, which is one of the low teens. I'll grab it. The fruit juice only gives like about 5 or 6 HP, but it really helps this next fight. Gives you just a little bit of extra buffer room, so maybe you don't have to use a better healing item or a life up too early. And the strat for Frank is basically if you take damage, you heal. Frank can do 2 brandishes in a row, which is his higher attack, and it will knock you out. The preferred thing here is that you want him, after you heal or after you attack, you really want him just to lower your guts. That's pretty much a turn waste for him, and let you just keep attacking. Ooh, it looks like Silver's max HP is 46. It's not good. A 46 max HP is actually pretty risky for him. Yeah, because a 24 plus brandish can spell dead for him. But he's getting 3 saying something nasties in a row. So that works out, and there goes Frank. Okay, never mind.
Very nice fight for Silver. So Frank usually bashes away pretty hard there. That was very nice.
And then with Frankie Stein, once Daniel gets out of it, Frankie Stein is a fairly scripted fight. His first turn and all of his odd number turns, he's going to blow steam. And then his even turns, he's going to do attacks. And wow, yeah, the smashes, he got out of that very quick. But his first attack is always going to be a low roll, doing mid to high teens. But then on his 4th turn and beyond, it can be a tear into you, which can do into the upper 30s. So you just need to watch your HP there and heal. But Frankie Stein is not too bad as long as you at least have like 1 form of healing left over from Frank. But both of them got a pretty good dredge through there. Daniel's Frank was a little worse, but overall, not too bad. And walking by the lovely bush outside the town hall, the cause for much grief. You start watching people who do manipulation. That bush is an absolute nightmare and harder than Gygas, in my opinion.
That bush has been the downfall of many EarthBound speedrunner, especially manipulating Onett. both racers making pretty quick work of Frankie Stein here. Both these guys are very experienced Earthbound runners. Daniel is kind of the newcomer on the scene, and he has just blasted off. He's just gotten some great times and sprinting across the board. He's doing glitched runs, glitchless runs, and he's very good. And Sylverfyre has been around for a long time. Both these guys very experienced with Earthbound.
So I'm taking out some safety burgers here. This is something I really recommend never doing for PB attempts. And it's generally been a question for me when I've done runs is, oh, you're not getting burgers? Like, no. If I'm going for PB, that's not something I do. But something that's really fortunate with Earthbound is there's a lot of really like small, time-consuming race strats that you can do. Picking up the burgers here, grabbing an extra teddy bear. But this game, well, I wouldn't say it's not very forgiving to learn because small mistakes can really set you back, and in some areas can probably just end your run by making you not have enough money for some sections. But as far as the amount of safeties that are available in the game, there are a ton available depending on your skill level or how safe you're wanting to be. And so loading up with hamburgers here is a way to really boost your chances of getting it past the ant.
Both racers are going to grind out some levels here at the beginning of Giant Step. What they're looking for are slugs, which Daniel now finds. They're looking for roughly 16 slugs. They're looking to get to level 8 or 9, depending on the racer's preference. We're going to see a little grinding here from both racers.
And it's going to take 11 slugs to get to level 7, and I think both of these guys would tend to go up to the next floor, but generally recommend staying on the first floor until level 7 because all the little black dots will always be slugs on the first floor. And it's going to take 21 to get you up to level 8. And if you go up to the second floor, what you have to do is sort of your how much or how certain you are that you can discern slugs from ants. Sometimes you really can't. The game doesn't give you a pattern that's good enough, but generally if you see 4 together on the second floor, you can go. But the main thing is you just really do not want to fight antoids. They can call for help, they can heal themselves, they hit harder, and they waste a lot of time. But both of them having a pretty decent slug hunt. And you'll see them avoid the rats too. The rats really don't give enough experience for how much trouble they are. They can give a bread roll, but it's pretty rare and just not really a game-changing item. And with the slugs, they're not a dangerous enemy, but if they're alive for 4 turns, they will kind of wake up and they can start using hypnosis. Not the most dangerous of things, because they're still slugs, but if you're low HP, it can hurt. Nah, Daniel having to give up on some slugs there because a mouse decided that they were his. But the slugs won't link with the mice, thankfully. But if you were to grab the mouse there, it would have just been a time waste. Yeah, the slug hunt kind of going downhill for Daniel now at this point. I think this puts Silver's count just ahead of his. Ooh, and a 29 for Daniel. Yeah, Silver's going up. On that third floor, you can get a 6 spawn of slugs, but you do have to be very careful because sometimes within that pack of 6, there would be an extra little 7th one that you don't see because it's stacked on top of another ant or a slug, and that'll sometimes be an antoid, and that's infuriating when you think that you're going to grab 6 and you end up grabbing an ant when there was 6 on the screen. And what happened there for Silver? Those are, I mean, I hope I don't get proved wrong here, but those should all be slugs because they spawn in a pack of 4. But what they're trying to do, most likely there's a pack of slugs down below the first door, right beneath them. And those slugs are, whenever you grab an enemy, it looks at every enemy on the screen, and tries to find any available pack. And what it's trying to do there is it's grabbing enemies below, and they can't possibly make it up to nests, so it's just canceling them out. And ooh, well, that's unfortunate. The ant decided to come up the rope, and whenever you get in a fight there, the mouse decided to climb as well. This is pretty much the worst thing that you can have happen in Giant Step, because the mouse can hit real hard, and the ant can heal him, but thankfully he was able to get him down real quick. So this should be the last fight he needs as long as everything goes okay. Or it's not. He's got to be close.
Just checking it out there. He's also curious.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, another pack of 4. No, the one on the left should be a slug. Oh yeah, I wouldn't take that. You know, if there's 2 packed together, be wary of it. Sometimes you can get lucky, but generally when there's just 2 together, I don't like taking those. But these 3 here won't give him 105 experience, I don't think. I think they'll give him like 80 something. Yeah, 81. Oh yeah, right. He did get that instant kill, so yeah, he's good.
Silver's looking for 24 offense there. I'm not sure if you got it, but 24 offense is going to let you auto-kill ants, which is pretty helpful for the next couple rooms.
And this is what we're talking about with stutter stepping. Very, very valuable skill to have here.
So what happens with the stutter stepping is some enemies, they move only based on your movement. So if you're able to just lightly feather the D-pad, you can kind of skip frames or skip the frames the enemies are reading, and they kind of won't come at you, depending on your movement. You see some nice stutters from Silver there as well.
Alright, so first time coming over to the ant. The ant is the absolute worst enemy in this entire game. I hate nothing more than this ant, other than Lumine Hall, but the ant, Lumine Hall's not a, an enemy. He has a variety of moves. He has a low attack, which Silver got there. It'll do about 19 to 20 damage, with an additional 1 damage for every defense down he gets. Silver getting a good rock in there. Oh, Silver makes a little bit of a misplay, but he's all right. He meant to use a hamburger, and he used the baseball cap. So you can change equipment in battle. That's just not what you want to do in a race against the Titanic ant. In this type of race setting, it's generally a good idea to try to heal after any time you take damage, because he does have a high roll attack, which can do mid-40s to even low 50s, depending on the number of defense downs he does. The preferred thing that you want him to do is the defense downs, because it's only about one defense a time. Or, if you're already out of psychic points, have him just spam magnet, because that's the way to turn. Shield is kind of a jerk thing to do. If you don't have your rock-ins, you only do about the low teens, but a smash will take him out. But Silver did get away from there, even with that slight misplay. I'm wondering how fast his heart was beating after he accidentally equipped that baseball cap. And Daniel here showing exactly why Antoids are bad.
That was a very nice fight for Silver. Ant is not an easy boss to get past. He's killed many a run. Silver with the slight edge. We'll see how Daniel's ant fight goes.
In the first turn, you really want to see both those Antoids die and a good rockin' against the ant. You get 100 damage is good. He has 242 HP, 240 HP. So 2 Rockins, so he has 164, so that's a pretty good leap, but he got a high roll attack, but it was Daniel.
Playing it risky.
Oh no.
Wow, he got lucky.
Okay. Yeah, he got 2 low range high damage attacks that only did in the 30s. That high range that's 30 to 50. So he's very lucky right there.
Yep. That was pretty scary. He could have easily died there and decided to attack.
Yeah, I can't even recall a time. It might have happened once, but I've never seen the ant actually miss on an attack. If he has done it, it's been a very, very rare occasion.
I can't say I've seen it very often, if at all. Silver's gonna buy some backup burgers.
Both races are having a pretty stressful ant, but thankfully, both of them get out without a death there. I do believe Daniel's gonna need to buy some extra burgers. I think he might only be down to 1. He could risk it. I mean, yeah, that's a big thing with this. Is there's a lot of different strategies people can take. He has 4, I think I saw, so he might just go with it. But like I was saying with the safeties, not only are there a lot of safeties you can take, you can really find a lot of ways to play a little bit riskier and try and go for it. And just how much you want to put on the line. I'd recommend in a race not going into the cops without any hamburgers. You have, I think, 1 in 16 chance of, or maybe a 1 in 32 chance of getting a hamburger from a cop, but it's not a good thing to really risk on. Because the first cop, I've had the first cop just sit there and do crushing chop, which is his high roll damage, and just attack, and I don't even get a chance to really hit until, oh look, I'm out of hamburgers already. And I'm the same. I go in and have a smash first turn and end the cop and keep on going. But the thing with the police, I think a death to Strong himself, which will be the last boss of this little gauntlet, is, I think it's the worst death in Onett. While with Titanic Ant, you'll have to walk all the way through. You generally can get level 9 and kind of just go with it. If you beat all of the cops and then get to Captain Strong and then have to beat all 4 cops again, it's a major headache. But you want to try to stay above 50 HP, 55 if you want to be really safe. If you have around 50 HP, using a hamburger to heal is generally your better option, but if you go into the 30s, I'd recommend using a life up just to try to get back up to full HP, because a crushing chop can kind of negate that heal for you.
Like Silver's having a really solid cops here. Still has 30 psychic points. I believe he's on cop 4.
Yep, he's on cop 4 with 30 psychic points, so he's been going good. He has a lot of burgers left, so just don't equip the baseball bat or baseball cap mid combat, and he should be fine.
Strong can hit you pretty hard here. He'll crit, or even just his regular attacks will hit pretty hard. So you gotta stay on top of things. So make sure you have enough hit points. He's known to defend quite a bit.
Yeah, the thing with the defend is it will reduce the damage of your bashes, but it will not reduce the damage of rockin'. So pretty much an ideal thing is if he just defends and you get some rockins off. But I would recommend trying to make sure that you're at full HP at the start of the fight. I've got a cat that will not leave me alone. Living in Texas, I had a friend that bought a new pistol and just showed up and like, hey, I'm gonna go out and shoot. And like, he was picking up over the microphone almost. I'm like, okay, not right now. So the animals have been a little scared.
Cat's a little freaked out, huh?
Mm-hmm. But you can't sit here, buddy. So Sylverfyre getting out of the strong fight.
Yeah, very solid on it for Silver, sub 30. That's really good for this category. Alright, Daniel's moving on to Captain Strong. He's really not too far behind here. There's really not much time between these two guys right now.
I don't know. And I mean, that's the thing with the opening part of the run in Glitchless. There's so many different things that can cause a variation in your time. Anywhere from just having to despawn too much to getting in a bad encounter. There we go, yeah, just being able to take Strong out with some rockins. That's the advantage of getting the hamburgers. If you're able to get to Strong with on a second points, it's a pretty easy fight. So both racers getting out without a Onett death is very good, spectator-wise.
Silver choosing not to save from what I saw, so maybe he's going for Vogler strats.
Yeah, as we see coming into Tucson, this is another place where we'll see some different strategies depending on what they want to do. The Red Balloon Man here is a very big advocate of just playing risky. I don't like the idea of some of these really risky strats in a race. I think it's just too much of a gamble. But all these different strats you'll hear talking about the half Vogler, full Vogler, fuller Vogler, mega Vogler. These are all just different terms that we use for death warps. Or we have Vogler Pass, which is just a walk back. What they're going to use is going to be depending on where they save. Sylverfyre saving at the department store. He's probably just going to go the old halfsies because I prefer that in any situation, really. But if they were to go down to the bus station, they could do the full Vogler, which, as we go on, I think it'll probably be better to explain things as they get towards certain situations because it's just going to get way too confusing.
Yeah, basically what they're doing is setting up a death warp, and it's just how they choose to deal with that death.
Oh, I take risk, Garvey. I'm just not in a race. And not ones that are going to make me, you know, reset an extra 500 times. I'm already doing it for really no gain. But both of them saved in the department store, so we're most likely going to see just regular traditional death warp. No, I guess for anyone coming in recently, I guess we'll kind of try to explain this intermittently. This has been a tournament we've been doing. It's kind of inspired by the Paladin percent in FF4. So instead of it being a full game, this is just going to the Boogie Tent. This was really more of a way of getting people interested in streaming, getting people interested in running this game. Temple here really liked the Paladin percent and set this up, and it's been a pretty good success. We've gotten a lot of new runners from it. I know they're going to be continuing this a tradition from the FF4 thing with the Kefka Narsh tournament, which I believe someone who's in that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe signups for that keep going until the 1st of November.
I believe it's till the end of the weekend. It's getting pretty close.
Till the end of this weekend.
Yeah.
I think it starts on November 1st. So yeah, the Kefka Narsh thing may be closing here pretty quickly.
I believe signups are still open for that.
But this is another split. I absolutely detest this. Whether or not you get a good split is just completely dependent on if you scroll the screen and there's an enemy there or not. You really can't afford to take any of these fights. If you do get in one like Daniel just did, I really hope he grabbed a butterfly. And he did not, so we may have a little bit of a problem. Thankfully, since this wasn't manipulated, he does have defense. These sprouts are absurdly fast and hard to run from, but he's probably going to need to try. Alright, now he's got... Okay, he still has hamburgers. So, this is why you don't want to get an encounter here. They're not. These guys are not particularly dangerous. It's just with how fast they are. They're most likely going to get their action in before you, and you're really not going to be able to run from them for the first couple of turns. The way running works is it takes your fastest character versus the enemy's speed, and it gives you. I can't remember the exact. I don't know if it's just your speed minus their speed. I don't remember the little equation for it, but it gives you a certain % chance. And every turn that the battle goes on, you have an additional 10% chance to run. And against those enemies like those sprouts, he's probably starting at 0. But there will be some enemies that we'll be seeing shortly, like cultists, that if they ever have a scripted fight somewhere, and in particular the thing with the cultist is there's a fight in the cabin that has an NPC that you engage, and that is considered a scripted encounter. And if an enemy has a fight like that ever, you can never run from any of those enemies. Any enemy that has a scripted encounter at any point, you cannot try to run from it. It flags them all like a boss encounter. But this whole section, Peaceful Rest Valley, it can be just a nightmare. There's a lot of spots you can get caught up in a pickle. There's a lot of spots that you may just have to sit there and despawn for a while. Depending on whether or not you're able to get a butterfly to get some psychic points will kind of gauge your ability to fight some things here. I do think they're both level 10. Level 10 gets you healing alpha, so if you get a cold, which this is the first place where you can start getting real status effects, healing alpha will clear the cold off, but if you don't have that yet, you can be in a lot of trouble. Where Silver's at, that little spot above the present, probably out of this whole area, that's probably my least favorite spot. If I'm gonna get into a pickle, it's gonna be there, and I'm generally gonna get into a back attack because I misjudged something. But there are plenty of places where butterflies are known to spawn. Depends on how much the butterfly likes you or not. Sometimes I don't see butterflies, and it makes me mad. It seems like they have like an 80 or 90% chance to spawn in some places, and sometimes they just don't spawn. And then you try and respawn them like you do despawning of enemies, and when you do that, you know, an enemy spawns and you get caught. I think Silver there not paying full attention. He almost got caught with a tree there. I mean, yeah, he just walked right up into that.
Silver opting for the hard hat.
Yeah, I think I had a buffer. Let me refresh Silver's screen. Yeah, I was a couple of seconds behind.
Hard hat not completely necessary in this category, but if you feel safe with it, it's there.
Yeah, hard hat is something with manipulation. If I've been having some bad runs to the cultist place, I'll still grab it. It's like a little less than a 20-second time loss if you don't have any spawns, and it gives more defense than the Holmes hat and the cheap bracelet combined. So if you're getting both of them, you're really safe from the cultist. I mean, even like borderline just a little too safe, but I mean, it could come down to Daniel dying here because he was just short on defense.
See if Daniel tries to trick past this tree. You move faster than the trees, and Daniel knows that, runs right by.
Hard hat gives, I believe, 16 defense. I think it's like one more than the hard hat and the home stack combined.
RBM, I believe both players saved in the department store.
Yeah, both players saved in the department store. So I guess one death what we can talk about, since they both didn't, they both saved in the department store. You have the full Vogler, which right before coming into Peaceful Rest Valley, there's a cliff, and if you go all the way down it, you can grab a couple life noodles. If you grab that and you saved at the bus station, whenever you do your death warp, you can use the couple life noodles on Paula and revive her, and you don't have to make a trip to the hospital. The problem with that death warp is whenever you go out to grab the couple of life noodles, either if you do it before, that I believe that's the Mega Vogler. I don't know. I'm not all up to date on the hip terms these days. I don't know anymore with all the dozens of death warps that have come in. But if you grab it beforehand, super risky. I don't recommend trying that in a race, because if you get spawns there, Ness is going to have a hard time. And if you try it after you get Paula, there's a good chance you could die before grabbing it, and then you're going to have to trek all the way through Tucson to grab a revive at the hospital. Oh, we had a hamburger steal from the crow. This crow is very fast. The problem with rockin' is a way for enemies to resist it is based on how fast they are, and the crow's pretty fast. Yeah, that is EarthBound's RPG Jerkbird. I'm getting some buffering from Silver.
Both players pretty even here. I'm actually surprised how close they are, as far into the race as we are here.
Yeah, I think like the extra 20. Silver had some bad spawns, plus he took some extra time. Grabbing the hard hat, and did he just try to buy a
going for the egg? The egg. Get it for $0.
Yeah, I guess it's a cheap healing item, I guess.
So these cultists you have to fight. You can't get out of their way, and you can't run away from these guys. So you just gotta kind of hope for the best. Nice.
I think somebody's at my house and I'm in the middle of the country, so give me just a moment.
Okay. Hopefully Phalanx is okay. So we're getting trolled a little bit by some fancy cultists. So we're gonna approach Carpainter here. Carpainter is a scripted fight. You know what he's gonna do ahead of time, so you can kind of prepare. He's going to do these lightning attacks. The lightning attacks have a 1 in 4 chance to hit you, so a 75% chance to miss. But since we know what he's going to do, you can kind of prepare for the attacks and the life ups and all these kinds of things. So.
Nope, just a coyote in the backyard.
Okay.
Nothing.
And Daniel gets Carpainter first. Got ourselves a race here. That was a very nice Carpainter by Daniel.
Yeah, something I've jumped the racers for a lot is healing on the lightning turn. You absolutely cannot die whenever Carpainter is doing his lightning attack. And there's actually a glitch that can happen if you life up while the lightning is possibly reflecting. What will happen is, since Carpainter has his shield up, the game bugs and thinks that since you're reflecting essentially a PSI attack onto somebody with a shield, and on that turn you're going to be using a PSI skill, it thinks that you're using a PSI attack, and it will negate your life up and negate the damage of the lightning. So not only will you not be damaging Carpainter, you'll also be canceling your heal. And you cannot die on the life up turn, so there's really, or you cannot die on the lightning turn, so there's really no reason to ever life up whenever he's using lightning.
It's always an odd thing to see your first time when your life up gets reflected and then negates. You're kind of like, what just happened? And it's just a little glitch.
You know, so I mean, even be careful with like auto fight. I mean, I had that happen to me recently. I mean, it makes me feel bad with how much I've been chastising people about it. But even with auto fight, when you get below a certain HP threshold, the game will try to life you up, even if you don't want it to. And if the game queues up a life up on the lightning turn, you're going 10, 12 lightnings deep into Carpainter, and he still hasn't reflected one. He finally reflects one, and then it turns out to be your life up, and then cancels everything. It's pretty heartbreaking because you still consume the psychic points. All you get out of that is a wasted damage against Carpainter and wasted psychic points.
Yeah, so both players are looking for certain hit point values here, depending on this is the death warp we were talking about earlier that they were setting up for. Daniel's going to be approaching it. He's going to fight the mole here. The mole can be a little trolly, but he'll usually hit for about 30 damage, so you want to be around 60 for Ness, 30 for Paula. Paula's 30 anyway. So we're going to see Daniel kind of deal with the mole here. He's going to try to get it to kill him intentionally. Looks like Silver's going to go for the same thing.
Yeah, Silver is in a little better condition. It's a lot easier for Silver to get one shot on Ness. I think the highest I've ever seen the mole do is about 65 damage, but you can really look more for about 30. The mole can sit there and confuse himself and just stay there all day, and it's an extremely annoying fight. That wasn't too bad for Daniel. Silver getting him to attack himself. But they're using the ATM card because if you defend, that'll reduce damage. So the ATM card, while it has a little bit more text, you're not going to reduce any damage if Ness gets hit. And the correct kid to die here first, if you're wanting just a little bit better luck, is going to be Ness. Ness, you don't want him to bash, and if Ness dies first, you can just auto-fight with Paula so she can try to break him out of confusion. Yeah. Silver having a little worse luck, and he actually killed the mole, which is very unfortunate. I really don't like trying to break him out of confusion with Ness, because that is very likely to happen. Just one more hit on Ness. One of the worst feelings is if you get a gut save. For some reason, it tends to be Paula for me that will gut save, and we haven't seen a gut save yet. The way that works is with the scrolling HP counter. If you finish a battle or get a heal up before somebody actually dies, which is before their HP actually reaches 0, or if your tech starts before that happens, you can save that person's life. But there's another thing that you can do that can save people, which is called gut saving. I don't know the exact values on it, but based on your score of your guts, if you take damage that would be mortal, there's a small chance that your HP could stop rolling down at 1. And when you're trying to death warp, that's pretty unfortunate, but I find it to be fairly common with Paula right there. And see here, if they would have grabbed the cup of life noodles, instead of having to go up to the hospital, if they saved at the bus station, that's just a quick revive on Paula with the life noodles, and then you can walk into her house. You cannot go into the house and progress the storyline with Paula being dead. So that's why another option, you can walk back. There's a real high chance you'll have to deal with a lot of really negative spawns on the way back to Tucson, but if you arrive back, you still have a teddy bear, which can be helpful in Threed, and not so much in just this category because you only need it for one fight, but it is an option. And here's just another cutscene. A fortunate thing, if you're interested in actually getting into running EarthBound, if you look at RPGs and think, oh man, this is a 4.5-5 hour run. This, I don't have time to do this. I'm gonna have to get up and use the bathroom. EarthBound really accommodates that for you. You've got about 25 minutes of long input breaks throughout the game, and I would actually probably say it's somewhere closer to the low 30 minutes of actual full-on input breaks. The start and stops of cutscenes, maybe little 10-15 second breaks. But the game has multiple breaks that are over 2 minutes. It has one that's 3 minutes exactly. The Venus show was very close to 3 minutes. You actually have a lot of sections. I mean, you can get up and make yourself a sandwich, use the bathroom, grab a drink, come back, finish the sandwich, and wash your hands before touching that sandwich. Nasty. And then you can come back and start playing the game. So EarthBound is actually a very good run if you want to get into an RPG run, but are worried that you might have to get up and stretch or get a snack or something.
Yeah, Mario Laser, that's very conducive for the speed run.
Yeah, so Daniel's Death Warp and Carpainter kind of helped get him an edge here. Yeah, the waterfall break is exactly 3 minutes long. So there's, when I was living in Austin, I had a couple of times I would get up and I would make myself a sandwich, and I could have it 8 before I even got back to my chair, and then sit down and go. So you've got plenty of time. This is a very forgiving run as far as if you need to get up and take some breaks. You've got 2 Runway 5 shows, the Venus show, multiple Skyrunner trips, entering and leaving Magic Hands, entering the Cave of the Past, multiple bus rides. Each of the sanctuaries, except for Lumine Hall, have about I think about a 10 or 12 second break that you can just maybe quickly jump up and grab a drink. Lumine Hall is about 90 seconds. And speaking of learning, since this is one of the longer runs here in Ball, I'll mention this too. If you are interested in learning this game, on speedrun.com, we've started to get some guides up. And also, yeah, there we go. He linked the glitchless route. As far as actually learning the game, if you're familiar with EarthBound, it's not that hard to actually learn. The first 2 hours of the run, 2.5 really, as you're getting started up through Foreside, I really say that first half of the run is real inventory heavy. And just depending on how well you are with inventory management, that's the main determination of how difficult it's going to be for your first half. While the second half is a lot more execution heavy with places like the Pyramid and Stonehenge base. You've got a lot of stuff there that will take a little bit more knowledge. But as far as just learning it, if you've played the game a couple of times, it's not too bad to learn. But as you start running it and start seeing some of the different tricks, it becomes a little bit more difficult. But our community has grown a lot, and everyone is generally pretty eager to see more runners, and we want to help people. So we're going to be in IRC on Speedruns Live pretty much all the time. Even if you have a question, just feel free to come in and ask us. If no one gets back to you immediately, which we actually have been recently, it's been pretty active, but it tends to be kind of like a forum. But we're always eager to help people. Andy Perfect has an absolutely beautiful commentary video that can help you get started, and at some point when I get off my butt and start doing it, which I mean it could be like 2017 by the time I get around to it, but I want to do like little in-depth sections for like Lumite Hall, Starman Base, and just actually focus on those areas, maybe use some save states and kind of show you some bad situations and how to work around them. So we have a lot of resources, and we're always happy to see new folks. And yeah, now that we're kind of ending this little section and coming into winners, everyone's favorite little section, Daniel is a bit ahead. About a minute and a half here.
Yeah, winners is kind of the last, as far as this category goes, kind of the last big RNG section. Boogie Tent itself can be kind of a pain, but winners itself, there's a lot going on here. We're going to deal with Protoplasm, which we'll talk about once we get closer. There's just a lot going on, so still anyone's race here.
The graveyard can be a nightmare. The only advantage of if you do get in a fight and you finish it is it gives Paul a fire for the Boogie Tent. But optimally, you don't want to see any fights there. Neither one really had a bad graveyard. So Daniel will be coming into the Protoplasm and Pond Cave. It's a little bit of an advantage. But as I said earlier, I mean, people have come into this section 3+ minutes ahead, and it sways in the person who was behind's favor. The game can be absolutely brutal in this section, and really there's nothing you can do about it. There's some good decisions that you can make if something bad happens, but in some cases, you may just have to take some bad luck and roll with it. Try and get an actual 57-12 was when I had Daniel leaving.
Snowwood.
Yeah, I'm gonna mark that down real quick. Let's see how far. See, SRL ever come back up? Nope, I'm not getting it.
SRL is still down. Daniel obtains every speedrunner's favorite Bubble Monkey.
Yeah, Bubble Monkey. Alright, go ahead.
He's just an RNG nightmare. As you can see, he kind of detaches and enemies will catch on to him, and there's just so much that can go wrong.
Yeah, he functions like a party member, but as you can see, sometimes he'll stop and look around, and that will be the bane of your existence in the areas coming up.
You'll be going for an enemy skip, and you'll be clear by getting the enemy skip, and then Bubble Monkey will just engage the enemy and ruin it all for you.
Yeah, but if you're unfamiliar with EarthBound, totally. I mean, I just need the battle system and the menus. It's very Dragon Quest-like. This game and Mother as well. I mean, they're pretty much parodies on a lot of stuff at the time. There's a lot of pop culture references, a lot of references to other games. Some of them are very subtle, but especially you can see just in the base interface, the game is very Dragon Quest reminiscent.
Daniel's approaching soon to be a Protoplasm fight. The problem with this fight is Jeff is very underleveled. Protoplasm can hit you for about a third of your life. So we'll see how it goes here. I mean, he has other attacks. Protoplasm can feel strange. He can call for help, which is also terrible. Protoplasm ends many a run here. It's not a huge time loss if you die. It's about a minute. You have to go through the fight again. So this first Protoplasm fight we'll be watching very closely.
And the thing with the fight, the dog fight, Silver got a red roll there, which is very helpful to get. It's just an extra healing item. He only got 1 HP. The thing with that first level for Jeff is you can get anywhere from 1 to 3 HP. 1 HP doesn't really make much of a difference, but if you get up the 3 HP, that actually is pretty helpful. The monkey will medium damage is about 10, but he can hit for even up to 12. So if you have an extra 3 HP, that generally will let you survive 4 hits from the Protoplasm. Or, well, survive 3 hits and then die on the 4th, unlike this where you die on 3. And you know the 9 damage up to start, very good. Lucky for him. And then he gets hit for 11, pretty much negating the 9 damage. And, ooh, hit here.
Pulls it off with 2 HP.
Daniel here's still holding our record in the tournament of the number of deaths, so I'm sure he was thoroughly clinched for that fight. That almost ruined a race for him.
Yeah, I'm sure Daniel was a little extra weary on that fight. Protoplasm attacked 3 times, which usually kills you, but he got good damage rolls and survived the fight.
Yeah, getting an 8 and a 9 is quite lucky.
Duck here isn't too scary. He can hit you for about 10 to 12 HP, but more often than not, he's going to fall down. He's going to make just psychic points go away. He's going to do all this other wonky stuff. So not too bad. I'm going to approach another Protoplasm here. Try to skip it. And there you have Bubble Monkey.
And that's what we're talking about. That right there, if you stay along the top, and you wait till he starts moving, right before he gets to you, cut down left. If Bubble Monkey wants to be a jerk and sit there, then you get to fight him. So that can be a chance for Silver to make up some time there. Yes, there will be another race after this, and the winner of this race and the next race will be going tomorrow at 5 p.m. for our finals.
So what we have here is basically the top 4. The top 2 in each bracket. We had 2 brackets. And the winner of this race will face the winner of the next race, like Alex was saying. And then we'll have the finals tomorrow. Same time, same place.
SIlenceErupts and Riversmccown. Which Rivers, I believe, did very well in the Paladin % race, so good to see kind of someone using these short race brackets to make a name for themselves within the communities. Alright, good fight for Silver. But he's going to have to really make up some time here because Daniel's had a pretty good Pawn Cave. Pawn Cave, this is a place that can be a nightmare. With a lot of very bad despawns. Daniel got out pretty lucky on it. But his 3rd cave, not working out too well. There we go. Still has one more spot. The next spot's my least favorite spot of Pawn Cave. You have some mushrooms that can spawn at the top. You can get to the top and everything be fine, or you can get to the top and get to go back down and up and down and up and down. But there we go. Get a skip for Sylverfyre. Bubble Monkey cooperated. Daniel can get past these. Alright, so he is on his way to the home stretch.
And there we saw
Silver
an example of kind of the different enemy attack patterns. Those presents have like a linear pattern, so what you can do is kind of just move out of the way, and that's how Silver kind of got that Protoplasm skip.
Yeah, the presents, whenever they move, you'll see them a couple of parts in the game. Here, the department store and Dungeon Man, they make that linear movement, and they won't move again until they get to the end of that movement. So they're fairly easy to juke as long as you have a wide pattern.
Pretty interesting thing to see in Magic Camp. There's a ton of those little presents, and gosh, get around them. It's always a fun thing to see in a full run.
Silver getting very close to the stutter step there and getting an unfortunate red swirl. Yeah, you're gonna opt for a heal here. Very unfortunate fight with this mouse. thing with the mushrooms in the cave, if they spawn at the extremes of the room, it can be fairly easy just to leave them in there instead of like kind of holding, not really as much of a placeholder, because the other enemies can spawn, but if you just leave them there, you don't have to despawn them if they'll spawn in a spot that you can walk around them. They're in the middle of the room, you're going to want to leave because you don't want to fight a mushroom. I don't think that these mushrooms can actually mushroomize Jeff. I've never seen anybody get afflicted by that, but they do still hurt.
So Daniel, getting down to his final approach here. He's just got a Boogie Tent to get through. The race technically ends when he grabs the fly honey, but once Boogie Tent's down, that's pretty much it.
So I mean, it's not down and out for Silver yet. We have had, I think, at least one race that had some bad rolls from Jeff. The main thing that's going to determine it for Silver to get back in this, Boogie Tent can damage Jeff on the first turn, and that can kill him, and defeating the tent without Jeff at all is quite difficult. You're going to have to rely on Paula's prayer, which she has all kinds of stuff that she can do, and one of them is a dazzling light chasing the enemy. And if that happens, it's about bottle rocket damage, it's low hundreds. But if the unfortunate situation happens where Jeff gets his bottle rocket off and it does low damage and he dies, and if Daniel ends up completely dying from that, it's going to be very difficult to kill the tent without the big bottle rocket. We haven't had that happen yet, but it is a possibility. Because the way bottle rockets work is Jeff's speed essentially acts as an accuracy stat. The bottle rocket hits 5 times, and each of those bottle rockets has a chance to miss based on Jeff's speed. If all of the bottle rockets hit, they can deal up to 750 damage, which will one-shot the tent. But each of them can also miss, dealing no damage, or just one can hit, essentially turning it into a basic bottle rocket and dealing around 100 damage, which won't be enough.
Daniel going for skip sandwich strats here, I like it. Gonna sprint out the final stretch. He's still got Boogie Tent to deal with. We'll see how this goes.
Again, best case scenario, you're looking for the rocket to deal enough damage first turn. He did go for the life up on Jeff just to be safe, but thankfully Boogie Tent hit the bear and the rocket did 421 damage. He should have a pretty easy time finishing this off with a rockin' or an extra bottle rocket. And that should be it.
Daniel is your winner.
I mean, unless, Daniel could wait, and he could, it hasn't happened yet, but he could just kind of sit there and think, oh, I got it, yeah, because we haven't had a race in a while. He could forget to grab that fly honey.
It's true. So,
he could sit there. It is possible. The stress could get to him. He could just stare at it and forget, because we don't have, since SRL's not up, he may not be looking at it. Silver may have a chance here. It's not over yet. Daniel looking real focused. I don't think he'll forget it.
He's a very thorough player. I think -4 minutes on his split, so this be a PB for him. Unless he's, oh no, he's going by average. Never mind. There it is.
Yeah. And all right. So he didn't forget, and that ends it for Daniel. We'll be progressing to our finals.
DanielRGT on to the finals. And Sylverfyre not very far behind. Put up a very strong fight.
Yeah, again, considering the amount of variance with the RNG that you have in this is still a very close race. Yeah, it's the little donation thing there. That...
Yep.
It's from Undertale, which if y'all folks haven't played that, I recommend picking it up. If you like EarthBound and just retro games in general, that a good little nostalgia trip playing through that. Yeah, Silver had a great run
Definitely.
throughout this tournament.
Yeah, he had to go through some tough races, but he made it. Oh, and there's a trick-or-treater. Yikes.
Yeah, the spawns in 3 are not too bad, but every now and then I've got that. It's made me fly off the handle. Getting that spawn behind the sign can be just absolutely infuriating.
Yeah, you don't see that coming. Alright, so we're gonna see Silver kind of finish this one out. And we're gonna take a short break, get things set up for the next race. It's gonna be SIlenceErupts versus Riversmccown.
Also, for the winners of this tournament, I believe first place is getting an EarthBound cart.
Yep. Second place is a Ness amiibo, and third place is like a little Japanese Mother 2 figurine. But yeah, first place, EarthBound cart. I know Daniel's hungry for that, so. There it is.
So yeah, neither runner having real terrible luck, but the main thing that helped Daniel, because Silver was ahead in Onett, the thing that really helped Daniel out was that very, very quick Carpainter and then a slightly better death warp.
Yeah, he kind of just gradually made up time. All after Onett just kept, you know, trudging away and stuck with it, and that's what happens. Alright, so we're going to take a short break here. We're going to set up for the next race. And shouldn't be more than about 5 or 6 minutes. Appreciate everyone sticking around.
Change my multi-twitch. See, SIlenceErupt, is that 2 E's in the middle, or is it just 1 E? Yeah, 2 E's.
back. Oh, sorry, hit the audio. Alright, we're gonna do a countdown in chat since SRL is still down.
All right, hey, we're on the second race, so what are we doing afterwards? Oh, no, it'll be an hour and 20.
Alright, these guys are off. See if I can get the timers lined up right.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Now my mic is unmuted. I'm good to go.
Nice.
Again, opening section of this race, not much to talk about for the first about 4 minutes. Just some text mashing, walking out of the house, going to Pokey, and coming back. The real stuff starts about 4 minutes when they leave the house. Let's see, Alright, Silence just got out of bed, so I have a little bit of delay on him, but not that much.
Yep, so this will be the same race again, just two different racers. These guys are in a different bracket. The winner of this race will face Daniel tomorrow, about 6 p.m. Eastern.
But, you know, if you are new to EarthBound and don't understand what's going on, basically the thing with the story, meteorite crashes, Ness gets out of bed, and decides to go investigate in his pajamas. So Mom is a little worried about that. Well, we're about to see Pokey here, or Porky, as more canonically named. He is a little jerk that if the meteorite would have just landed on him, there wouldn't have been a game. But this whole little first section is basically just Pokey coming in and saying, hey, can't find my brother, I need help. Please come out here with me and let's find him. Basically the way any adventure starts in, you know, middle America in the 90s. Friend comes knocking on the door in the middle of the night. And then you just set out in your, you know, with your baseball bat. Okay. You can grab the dog here. If you play this casually, you might have the dog being a party member. We don't grab the dog here, particularly because we don't want to get in any fights here. Grabbing the dog, while he could potentially be helpful in a fight, he just makes your butt a little bigger. It makes it a lot easier to be grabbed by an enemy. So we pass up on the dog. It also adds just the extra text of grabbing him, and then before you get to the meteorite, he leaves. So it's just a bit of a time waste for something that we really don't need.
Yeah, if you were to watch this run about 2 years ago, you'd see a lot different things. People grabbing the dog and those kinds of things.
Yeah, I'm getting some buffering on silence.
Looks okay here.
And one thing to notice with the crows, they don't always come after you. Sometimes they'll make just a wacky movement. And as long as you don't let nerves get to you and kind of just pay attention to what they're doing, you tend to be able to get away from them. I'd say more often than not, they're going to make a wacky movement into a wall and just get stuck on the wall and let you pass. True RPG fashion, here early on in the game, an insect comes down from the sky and gives us a prophecy. Nothing out of the ordinary here. But this little insect Buzz is telling us he's from the future. There's this evil entity called Gygus. He's doing a lot of damage, but there was a prophecy that said some kid named Ness would be a part of a group of friends who'd come out and save the world. So, as any good 13-year-old, you listen to the words of an insect and set out on your adventure. I am getting a lot of buffering. Yeah, it looks like he does have about a 900. Do I have anything extra I can close? Oh. But as we come up here, first like technical boss fight, but you really can't lose it. Like I said during the first race, the only way you can lose this normally is if you hit level 12 and you get a physical shield, so you can overwrite the psychic shield. The main thing during the race is you gotta hope that he does guards. Guards take very little time, as opposed to fires, which take about 4.5 extra seconds. The optimal thing here is for him to guard 3 times and Buzz to attack twice and do enough damage that he kills him in 2 hits. Not terrible for Rivers.
Silence getting some good Buzz damage rolls. So both guys are about even.
And the freeze takes about 3 less seconds than the fire, so if you're gonna get a psychic attack, that's what you want to get. But again, nothing you can do. Ness doesn't really do enough damage. Occasionally you will see Ness or even like Picky land the final blow, but 99% of your damage in that fight is Buzz. And here, even though Buzz was able to take out an alien, backhand of a housewife, it's a little too much for a fly. But once they exit the house, sort of the real game begins. They're stepping out into the actual sunlight Onett. You have more spawns, have to actually start setting up for later things. The first little segment that they have to do is the arcade with the sharks and Frank and Frankie Stein. See how much of a sync I've got. I got Sunup for Rivers at 925. Let's see what Sunup's going to be for Silence. Yeah, he's not that far behind. Well, I might have buffered. Yeah, I buffered. He was behind for me.
Yeah, just a bit. Dealing with some snakes right now. Some nice stutter steps, gets myself out of that situation.
I've always called that little section right there the Onett Zoo. One of the areas that I'm really thankful for manipulation. That, again, it's a pickle spot. Pretty easy to try to despawn something and then get something spawning behind you. And it's just a nightmare. You don't want to fight any of that stuff. You can't one-shot any of it. So it's just a time waste. And a variation you'll see some runners do. If you're quick with your menuing, you can go ahead and equip the Mr. Baseball Cap here. We're not going to use it. What we're actually going to do is sell it. If you go ahead and equip it, what that lets you do is it lets you open your menu, or open the shop menu, and then just instantly buy the baseball cap. Whenever you buy it, it lets you go ahead and equip it, which will reduce your defense by 1, but the next set of text will be your buying or your selling text. That stops you from having to open the menu. That one thing that I will never praise in this game, is for some reason, the English text in this game lags the menus horribly. I've been doing some other 2 runs, and it's really incredible to see how much slower the English menus are. So anything you can do that can kind of reduce the amount of menuing you have to do is helpful, but when in reality, those 2 things, I mean, it's a second difference maybe if you're really fast with your menuing. The first Pogopunk here, a typical thing is if you get charged first, you want to go ahead and use the bread roll and try and heal up. You can die in this first Pogopunk if he decides to charge a lot like he did there against Rivers, but he did go ahead and heal. The reason we fight that optional guy is the extra boost of experience, but also he is a guaranteed hamburger drop.
As many hamburgers as you can accumulate here, the better.
Silence getting a little bit better fight there, but you have to fight the second one. The advantage of the second one is with the extra level, you'll have possibly a little bit more offense. Sometimes you won't have enough offense against the first one to be able to smash it and kill it if you do get a smash. Rivers went pretty low on the second one, so we will need to heal. Typically, you're going to want to resort to using your life up before your hamburgers. Pre-Frank. And so with this race strategy that most everyone's using is everyone's going to grab burgers afterwards, but the less burgers that you use, the less you have to buy. And your psychic points will get refilled by talking to Frank, so it's generally better to focus on your much more replenishable resource than the hamburgers, which are going to cost you $14 a piece.
That's the nice thing about once you beat Frank, he's a free heal to go to a hotel or anything, which is always kind of nice. And we got Rivers dealing with Frank.
The basic strategy with Frank is anytime you take damage, you want to be sure to heal. His brandish and knife can do in the upper 20s, and basically if you get 2 24s in a row, you could die. Through text messaging, if your HP is around 22 to 24, you can try and save yourself, but if you're below 22 generally, it's quite hard. A couple of times I've gotten a 21 heal, but it's sort of luck-based at times if you're able to actually mash fast enough below 21 HP. So you want to try to always stay healthy. And Frankie Stein, like we have over on River's side, he is a more scripted fight. With his odd number turns, he always wastes a turn by blowing steam. On his second turn, he will attack. His first attack will always be his lower roll, which will do in the upper to mid-teens. But on his fourth turn and beyond, his attack can be a tear into you, which can do in the upper 30s. So you do want to watch your HP and be careful there. And if you happen to die on Frankie Stein, you don't have to fight Frank again, but you will have to fight Frankie Stein in order to get the key to progress the game.
Rivers with some solid awareness there, getting that life up in before Frank can kill him. His menuing is looking really strong.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things for EarthBound is getting your menu down. Like I had mentioned last run, getting the first half of the game has a lot more like bearing on how well are you at knowing your menu and menuing quickly. There's a lot of handing items over, especially in places like the Monkey Cave, and efficient menuing and having to open the menu as little as possible and spending as little time in the menu as possible with how cruddy the English text is. That can really save you some time. Let me refresh real quick, see if synced up. Yeah, so there's still, I got them both in the mayor's office right now.
Yep.
Is that okay? Good.
Yeah, I've got Rivers just slightly ahead.
Yep. And what we were mentioning last run, for anyone new about the RNG manipulation, that bush that they walk through, that's, if you're watching runs and you hear anyone talking about the evil shrub or the evil bush, that bush outside the town hall it's kind of a nightmare. It's a very precise spot that we have to walk, and that's just another one of the things that why we're not doing manipulation for this is it can be pretty easy to lose your manipulation right there by getting caught in the bush and letting the NPCs get an extra movement in. So we didn't do manipulation for this because with a lot of the newer runners, adding in manipulation kind of increases the curve for learning the game, and we don't want that. We want it to be as accessible for newer runners as possible.
And when you're not manipulating on it, it really evens the playing field as far as skill levels go.
No matter how good you are or how bad you are at the game, if there are times that the game can just equalize stuff by making things slightly easier for somebody else. Like if you go into Titanic Ant and you have to eat all of your burgers in one fight because Titanic Ant's a jerk, the game can really change based on another small number of factors. Both the racers are going to be looking for slugs here. You get 7 slugs for level 7. Or no, 11 slugs for level 7 and 21 for level 8. The reason we want level 8 is that gives us Rockin', which is our PSI special attack. It defaults to Rockin', so that's why you generally hear people calling it Rockin'. The way that works is it's just an entire enemy party attack they can resist it based on speed, but we need that so we can take out Titanic Ant's minions. Without manipulation, trying to do the ant without rocking would be absolute suicide.
And both players getting some pretty decent slug luck here. These slugs can kind of be a pain. You gotta hunt them down, and sometimes they don't always show up. But both players getting pretty good luck here.
Yeah, and the reason we're sticking to the first floor, Antoids share the same sprite as slugs, and you really don't want to fight Antoids, but Antoids won't come down to the first floor, so sticking to the first floor to at least level 7 kind of helps you out.
You see both players kind of entering and exiting these doors. It just resets the enemies every time, and you kind of do it one of two ways: either walk back and forth or exit and enter through those doors. And I think the enter-exit thing kind of works a little better most of the time.
Yeah, the thing with the entering and exiting that door is you have a chance of getting 2 sets of 4 right out the gate. They'll be at the bottom left and bottom right of your screen. The absolute optimal thing to happen, and it's really not that rare. But getting 8 slugs right out of the door can be extremely beneficial, whereas if you're walking left and right, you may only find 1 pack, and the odds of getting either a mouse or slugs are about even. So when you're going in and out of the door, you're kind of resetting more spawns than just 1 or 2 at a time.
What these players are looking to do is get to about level 8. We'll be looking for that level up. See what kind of stats they get.
Yeah, the stats are important, particularly your offense. The other ones are generally going to be around the same. Your psychic points and HP, you're going to be generally upper 70s and upper 20s in psychic points and HP. But your offense is the important part. 24 offense is what you're looking for. If you get 24 offense, you can insta-kill the Antoids if they're by themselves. But if you have less, you're going to have to kind of focus on stutter stepping or despawning them. Because they can be little nightmares to fight. They can call for help, they can heal themselves. And, well, they give a little bit more EXP than the slugs. They take much longer to fight. It seems Silence is trying to get an extra pack here on the bottom floor rather than go up. I generally recommend, if you are going to stay on the first floor, to stay near the door, at least until your last pack. I think he's going to need 2 more. Because if you're just sitting to the left side there, you're only respawning 1 section. And you're only giving yourself 1 spawn zone for them to come in.
Yeah, I threw it on the ground. The slugs are a great, cheap way to get experience. They're not very strong, and they travel in packs. And the players are just trying to do some grinding here. This is really the only grinding in the game without manipulation. When you do a manipulated run, there's 0 grinding. But in unmanipulated Onett, this is the only grinding section throughout the game.
Yeah, and if you're used to watching runners doing manipulation, you'll see us just kill 2 slugs, get 2 bombs, and go on about our way. But this is the way it was done before then, and for anyone who doesn't do the manipulation. Because doing Titanic Ant without rocking, you could do it. But getting like a level 5 or 6 Titanic Ant, or even level 7, without rocking, you're pretty much just banking on him going to spam defense down, and hopefully not do shield, and just kind of sit there and let you bash away his buddies. Because the Antoids can life up the ant, and it's not good. I mean, even if you were to get lucky and get 2 bomb drops and not level 8s, it's just not a good idea to go in, because even if you throw those bombs without manipulation, you could get the ant to be healed, and you're going to die and reset.
So Rivers hits level 8, gets kind of a bad offense boost. Silence is having some trouble with some enemy spawns here. He was just in a fight with 3 slugs, but he ran away, luckily. Once again, those ants can kind of just call for a bunch of buddies, and as your chance to run away the chances get higher and higher as the turns go. You can just run away eventually, not have to deal with killing the ants, which is what Silence did.
Yeah. And one advantage to the ants is if you get fairly good luck with them and you're able to kill them, but they keep calling for help, as long as you finish that fight, you'll get some good experience. But an unfortunate thing is if it spirals out of control and you just get more and more ants and you end up having to run from that fight after having to commit significant time, it's just not worth it. It's not worth the time. I mean, it's possible you could get 4 or 5 ants and actually kill them, even though it took a while. If that's what you needed to get level 8, then you'll be good to go. But if you sit there and have 7 or 8 ants spawn and you end up having to run and you wasted, well over a minute, it's a situation that you want to try to avoid by just not getting in a fight with any of the ants.
Silence hits level 8. He gets a really nice offense boost. I believe he's at the 24 mark he's looking for.
And one of the few times the game is actually generous, giving you this restore point. If this butterfly will respawn if you just walk to the right or walk back inside. It's a little faster just to walk to the right so you don't have to go screen transition. But you want to make sure that whenever you're headed into the second cave, you're at full psychic points and full HP.
So you notice Rivers doesn't have 24 offense, so he has to fight this ant, where you see Silence will just auto-kill it. So that's where the difference from the 24 offense comes into play.
But even with having the 24 offense, he doesn't want to go into a room with multiple ones. I answered the question from chat. Yeah, the average time, it's going to be about 120 to 130. It's sort of an upper end, but it's very possible it could be closer to 110 or less. But for a full run of glitchless, which is what this category is a part of, what you really get used to run, I'd say about 430 to 440 is going to be closer to an average. Because what this is basically just the first quarter of the full glitchless run of the game. All right, 102 damage roll on the ant is very good. And that's almost half of his HP right there.
Yeah, it's about a little over 200 health points. These guys are very close right now.
Mm-hmm. But the main thing that you want to look like, if you don't get rid of an ant with that rockin', it can be pretty catastrophic. They can life up the ant and pretty much negate your first hit. There's also a chance that your rockin' could miss.
Oof. Silence gets the dreaded Titanic ant death.
Yeah, that... He's not out. Again, this is very, very early on. So he can come back. But this will be a few minutes setback.
Yeah, it's not quite the whole race. I mean, there's still a lot to go. Silence is definitely not out of it, but there's a couple minutes setback.
Yeah, we've had, I mean, a good number of folks that have died to ant, and they've come back and won. But it sends you back to the house. It's a free restore, so you don't spend any resources, thankfully. But you do have to get this picture and take the walk of shame back.
It's interesting to see how the runners deal with giant step running back through whenever you die to Titanic ant. You kind of just want to get right through, get right back to the ant. So you already have rockin', so you can just take certain fights, stutter, step past other ones, and just do your best to get back to the top as fast as you can.
And Rivers here grabbing the skip sandwich. I don't really see that as a big time save. In the English version, at least, with the extra menuing it takes, plus the time it takes to grab it. It can be helpful to get past some spawns. I would think generally it'd be a little better to use the skip sandwich in Peaceful Rest Valley. It can help you get past some spawns there. But there's a couple of skip sandwiches you can grab one that could be somewhat helpful in this category.
Yeah, they can be kind of helpful. It's not a huge thing, but they're just lying around sometimes. You just grab it. Looks like Rivers is gonna stock up on some hamburgers.
Especially for a race, recommend just as a safety. It doesn't take up a lot of time, but at least having a couple of burgers on your way into the cops is very beneficial. You don't want to rely on the cops dropping a hamburger. That's most likely not going to happen.
So Rivers going up against the cops. The cops, you fight 4 of them, there's 5. But you only fight 4, and they have basically 2 attacks. Basic attack and then a crushing chop. The crushing chop can do upwards of about 30 to 35 damage. You really want to avoid those. The strats throughout the cops is just maintain your psychic points, get to strong with as many as you can, and just utilize your hamburgers as you go. So we'll see what the cops decide to do here. See a crushing chop right off the bat. And 2. So basically, like, you want to keep your hit points. You get below 50, you're starting to worry. It's only gonna take 2 attacks to kill you. Hamburgers are gonna typically heal you for about anywhere from 30 to 50 health points. Life up is always gonna give you much more than that. So it's kind of a balance of what do you want to use to heal, when do you heal, and so on and so forth. Alright, Silence taking on the Ant. Second time. Get a Magnet first turn, that's no fun.
Yeah, the thing with Magnet, you want him to do it later on in the fight when you're already out of psychic points, but if he does it early, it can really screw up your strategy. And so he's sitting there at 4. There's nothing you can do with 4 psychic points. You need at least 5. And the Ant being quite brutal here.
Silence running low on hamburgers. Ooh, and that miss. Yikes.
Yeah. There you go, a good smash, and then it'll get Silence out.
I was getting scary for a second there. And Rivers going into Captain Strong with 47 HP. It's a little scary. I imagine he's going to heal first turn.
Yeah, generally, as long as I have the resources for it, if I'm below like 65 or so on Strong, I'd like to heal for the first turn. Just to be careful, his submission hold can well do more than damage than that.
Oof, and the low damage rocking.
Yeah, 65, not too good, but he has plenty of hamburgers left, and also a high roll here could end it.
Yep,
there you go.
So Rivers is out of Onett. Every runner of EarthBound's kind of bane. It's always a very relieving feeling to be out of Onett.
This wonderful rural Texas internet. I'm having to constantly refresh Silence's stream. But again, even with that death, Silence not that far behind. Good cop fight. You can go through fairly easily. But with how much runs left, last run, it didn't really show it off as much because even though Silver had some bad luck, the game shifted back and forth for the early parts. But we didn't really see anything terrible happen in the Peaceful Rest Valley and Cultist sections for either run or last race. But it's very possible to die on the cabin fight. It's possible to die with Carpainter. You could have a death warp that becomes completely just not worth it by taking forever. So, like, as we were saying, Silence is not out of this at all. A lot can happen. When we've had... I can't remember who it was. We had somebody that had 2 deaths in Onett. I think it was a Titanic Ant death and at least a Frank death. But it was quite bad, and they still ended up coming back and winning.
It certainly happened. So River's just kind of doing some storyline advancement here. He's going to do some walking through Peaceful Rest Valley, discover himself a little pencil eraser, or a pencil, and then find a pencil eraser.
Yeah, the thing with the pencil is you don't actually have to talk to it. It just needs to load into the game's RAM. So you'll see you won't go all the way up to it, just enough to load it up and then walk on out.
Yeah, it's a neat little trick in the speedrun. You don't have to actually go and look at it, just make sure it loads on screen. Ooh, Silence gets a bad crit there.
Yeah, not starting off the way that he needs it to.
You see the rolling HP kind of come into play there. If you end the fight, or eat, or somehow, eat a hamburger or life up when you're at 0 HP and it gets off, you'll survive. It always kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, the rolling HP meter it's a very unique thing for this game. A lot of runs can be won and lost if a lot of RPGs you take mortal damage, like, oh no, this kid died, what am I gonna do? And this, if you just kind of keep your composure, and if you're quick at menuing, you can try and get a life up or possibly end the fight before anything too catastrophic happens. So Silence is, I mean, he may have already started on your screen with how much I'm buffering, but going into strong with 91 HP that's very good. He won't need to heal. He might just go for the double rocking off the bat.
That's what he does. Oh, it's strong hitting hard.
Yeah, that submission hold is a very deadly attack. Ooh, okay. Got the second rocking up and he didn't attack again. Alright, so Rivers does have a pretty good lead on him. But don't count him out yet.
Those Titanic Ant deaths are definitely rough. That's that's one of the few things that makes Onett so difficult. Titanic Ant's definitely the main culprit. Cops can be pretty bad too, but it's one of those frustrating parts of Onett that you get caught, it's really bad.
And that's one of the things with this game. Some people look at it and go, "Ah, this doesn't seem too difficult to learn." And again, if you're good with menuing and just good at memorizing items, it's the actual process of the game is not difficult to learn. The main thing about this game is learning, when something bad happens. It's not if, but it's when something bad happens, what is the best way to react to it? And there's some things like a smash on Titanic Ant, you may not really have a lot of options there, but you might. It might be a case that you might be able to get a hamburger or a life up off before your HP rolls down. Or if you get into a bad fight somewhere, what are the best ways to deal with the game just giving you terrible RNG? And that's the biggest process, learning contingency plans and your plan B, and maybe it's plan A or plan B. What should I go with based on how the game's treated me so far? That's the biggest difficulty with this game, because nothing's really set in stone. There's a lot of areas that one run you could walk through and it just be perfectly clear, nothing bad happened, and then your next run you walk through it and it's absolutely terrible. Every single zone that could have an enemy in it has an enemy in it, and how are you going to deal with that? Are you going to use skip sandwiches to get green swirls, or are you going to fight things, and how are you going to fight it? Especially in the second half of this game, there are some areas that are very brutal, and learning the execution of those will really improve your time versus sometimes just if you think, I'll just take every fight. Well, if you want to get a good time, you can't just take every fight. So there's a lot of tricks with despawning that really help in the latter half.
And also, like, kind of Final Fantasy games, running away becomes a big factor towards the end. You get items that kind of boost your evasion and speed, and you run away from a lot of battles as well.
Yeah, speed boosting items. It's a lot of times people come in to a stream and they're wondering, "Oh, how are your bottle rockets doing so much damage? How are you running away so much?" Speed is just a super important stat for this game. It helps with your bottle rockets. It helps with your run speed. And we get some items, particularly Crystal Charms and then the Rabbit's Foot. And those items are extremely beneficial.
So Rivers found his way through Peaceful Rest very smoothly. He's on his way to Happy Happy. He's in Happy Happy. He's got to deal with some cultists. These guys can be really tough, and he gets spawned right on top of. Luckily, it's a green swirl. He's gonna decide to fight. I guess you can't run at all, even if it's a green swirl. I'm not sure exactly how that works.
Let's see. I guess I was a little behind him. Yeah, even with the green swirl, you can't run from these guys because they have an NPC that's linked to a fight, so it has sort of a scripted fight. And for these guys, there's a cultist in the cultist house that you have to talk to initiate the fight. It's not the cabin fight. If it was the cabin fight, then you couldn't even run away from crows. But because they have a fight that you initiate through talking to an NPC, the game flags every enemy type of that type is unrunnable. So getting in a fight in that cave is pretty bad, but he luckily got a smash off.
Usually a green swirl is a good thing. If you get a green swirl, you run away first turn, no problem. But because of that flag on the cultists, you just cannot run away ever.
And so what happened there was silence. If my multi-twitch would stop bugging up on me. So he made it all the way to the eraser, but had forgot to talk to Apple Kid. Yeah, and the pronunciation of the first town name, there's all kinds of different ones. I always, Onett, Onett, I guess, is very thematic, but I always say Onett. That's just the way I pronounced it as a kid.
Yeah, everyone's got kind of the way they say it. I'm an Onett person. You hear Onett, Onett kind of confused me. Like you said, it's very thematic. Like it's really just for aesthetics, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And so I buffered a bit, but I think what happened there is after talking to Apple Kid, Silence just went in and out of the cave, and it gave him the phone call. He didn't have to go back to the eraser a second time.
I believe so.
I didn't know that would happen, so yeah, that's not going to cut into his time as much as I thought it would. Yeah, I guess it's just since he had grabbed the flag, it gave him the phone call. Ooh, but River's getting a call for help. This is one of the downsides of the Cultist. Thankfully, he has a lot of HP, so he should be okay.
It's not uncommon for these fights to get to Cultist D or E or F.
Yep, and then send you right back to Tucson. And this room is extremely laggy. I think this is probably one of the laggiest moments on the SNES. It slows your frame rate to a crawl. But what we're looking for here in this Carpainter fight, and it's a scripted fight, his first turn he's going to use lightning. With the Franklin badge that we picked up at the cabin, the lightning can be reflected. The second turn, he's going to life up, and then the third turn, he'll do a physical attack. The physical attack will do around 50 damage, a little bit less since they have a little bit better defensive gear. And then he's going to repeat, doing a lightning, and then a shield, and then an attack. You can never die on the lightning turn, so you never want to heal. Particularly after he gets his shield up, you can negate the heal due to a glitch that not only takes your psychic points away, but makes it to where the lightning won't reflect and the life up just gets negated. But he got very lucky. He had some good lightnings. Ooh, and silence. And that's what I was talking about earlier. This is a big pickle spot. There was a lot of sprouts in one little spot. If he went back left, there's a chance he could have had a UFO. And we have an ambush robot. These things hiding behind signs or trees. It's infuriating. It really hurts when things like this happen because you have absolutely no time to react to it. But oh, he used life. Well, I guess he probably he had to use the life up, but he needs another 3 psychic points to get rid of that cold. Ugh. Very unfortunate fight for him.
Cooperating. Yeah, he's on the edge here. There's a butterfly spawn up here. It's almost guaranteed. It's like 90 to 95% chance.
Yeah, it's a very high spawn rate, but you can get unlucky at times and it just won't show up.
Really needs that butterfly. What's up, all the chatters?
River's having a pretty good Peaceful Rest Valley. I mean, it was with that mistake, not talking to Apple Kid. It just set Silence back just a little bit. Some decent luck will kind of keep him in this. You know, never really call anyone out of the race until, I mean, that Boogie Tent is down. Because while I haven't seen anyone lose after being ahead and having a bad Boogie Tent, it's really closed the gap and make it pretty heart-pounding if someone who's pretty far ahead has a bad Boogie Tent.
River's getting the one gut save in the game that you do not want.
Yeah, as we mentioned last time, there's a gut save. Paula took mortal damage, but because of her gut stat, it stopped her HP rolling at 1. making her need to take an additional hit. That is right. We did have Tekken's race that he was quite far ahead. What was it? Silence that I don't remember who it was that was playing Tekken, but yeah, Tekken was ahead for a while, and then it came down to Boogie Tent.
Yeah, that was a great race.
After being quite ahead for a while, Boogie Tent swayed it.
Oh, hey, Tekken.
Nope, there he is, yeah.
It was Bosk. Yeah, that was a race for the ages. Probably my favorite race of the series.
We do have a link for info from the race. I don't know what the bot commands are. Got it. There we go. Well, you can see here, Silence talking to Paula pretty far to the right. If an NPC is moving and you're trying to talk to them, their hitbox is a little ahead of where they are. So just like a very minor time save thing you can do a couple of times in the run is being able to talk to people just a little bit ahead of where their actual sprite is. Very good rocking for Silence there. A one-cycle tent fight was extremely lucky. But the whole section the Rivers is in, again, it's all just cutscenes. You gotta escort Paula home, go up, get the Runway 5 show, and then get your bus freed. My cat normally stays behind my chair, and he doesn't like the fact that I have a headset on, and he keeps trying to knock it off my head. He's gonna have to go. It's cutting into his space. But Silence getting actually the Peaceful Rest Valley that he really wants. That was a great tent fight. A good fight with the first cultist. So let's see how Carpainter goes. Oh, yeah, Drape, he stays behind my head. Those of you who watch my stream, you've seen him there, but since I have this headset on, it keeps poking him, and he keeps like headbutting the headpiece and knocking it off my ear. So he gotta go down to the floor. Ooh, Silence almost laughing up, but he didn't. Thank you. I was going to be very sad if I saw a life up on that turn, but there you go. Good Carpainter. If he gets a good Death Warp, he's actually going to be really not that far behind at all. I generally refer to animals by the type of animal that they are. I don't know. That's always how I've done it. That's why I call everything in EarthBound Mr. Bear, Mr. Mole. They have names, but I really don't care.
I always
This
been a
is
fan
Cat.
of Mr. Bear.
This is cat. There's dog. There's horse. I honestly don't even know the name of the 3 horses that I have here. Like I have 3 horses here. I don't know their name. I think one of them. I think one is Shayla, but I'm not sure it's horse. Yeah, kid, girl. Names are pretty irrelevant. We refer by the type. Yeah, actually, if I have the link, I have since I've been doing Mother 2 runs, I have a link to the differences between Mother 1 and EarthBound. It's pretty significant, not just with your text differences, but the menu is so lightning fast. It's so different. And then also you got your censorship stuff, your red cross symbol being taken out. Let me see if I have my bot on or not. I can load it up real quick.
There's actually a ton of differences between this and Mother 2, way more than I originally thought.
If you're interested in it, that's what it is. There's a lot of differences. Again, with me, I've been doing a lot of Mother 2 runs recently. I feel it's actually really helping me with my menuing, because I can't read Japanese, so I'm having to play the entire game off of memory, and it's pretty refreshing. But the fact that it's just lightning fast, the battles and the text are triple speed. Yeah, Silence not getting the best of Death Warps here. Unfortunately, there's really no time saves for him right now. It's going to come down to winners. Yeah, that is a pretty big difference. I've been able to save myself in Mother 2 at like 15 HP, whereas in EarthBound, like 22, 24 is the save range, but the text is so much faster. I've been able to save myself in the mid-teens if my HP is rolling down. But I recommend it any EarthBound runner giving Mother 2 a try. If you're confident enough with your inventory, my inventory being something static and items being the same every time is something I focused on. So Mother 2 is not that difficult, but I do still have some problems with it. But it's a very interesting run. And you get to listen to Smiles and Tears every time, because with Japanese timing, you got to go all the way to the end. Well, Cat! I don't know if y'all heard that or not, but he's very upset. He just jumped on the back of my chair and pushed the headphone. I'm sorry, but you gotta go.
So River's having to deal with a boarding school teacher with nothing better to do than troll kids in the middle of the night with keys. But after that, he'll be grabbing some items, making his way southwards towards Tessie.
Yeah, this is very trolly NPC. Like, oh look here, go open a door, and you come back and oh yeah, I knew it wouldn't work. Here, try this one. Why couldn't you just give it to me in the first place? But in the top left locker, there is a better gun for Jeff. Unfortunately, it's broken. In a normal run, or just like a casual playthrough, you won't have enough IQ to fix it until you get to Saturn Valley. But even like with this run, probably won't have enough IQ until you get to the Mole Cave, and by that point, it's just not worth having. And you can't throw it away, so it's a waste of an inventory slot. And your inventory slots are precious, so we don't pick up that Magnum air gun.
Gruff goat, not something you really want to be dealing with. Oh, got to run away.
Yeah, the goats, they can very easily kill you. They give a lot more experience, but the odds of you killing them are quite low. If there's any fight that you're just gonna take here, you can take a dog. It doesn't take much time. You can get that extra level up for the possible extra 3 HP, and you can get a bread roll, which is just a nice little safety item to have. If you die before Tessie, you will respawn right outside the gates. And if after Tessie, you'll respawn at Tessie's drop-off point. Unfortunately, in a full glitchless run, that spot can be the bane of your existence, because if you die in Starman base, you get dumped off there. And if you have nothing to refill your psychic points with, or nothing to revive Pooh, in order to get back, you're going to have to walk with Ness alone all the way back over to the lab to heal up. And also, if you die in Lumine Hall, you're going to be stuck there, which means you're going to have to go all the way to the lab, heal up, teleport out to Tinda Village, and go back to Lumine Hall.
Yeah, dying to Protoplasm isn't too bad. You'll respawn pretty much right outside. It's more of a pain if you're trying to like PB or something. But if it's just a race, it's not too bad.
Yeah, the Protoplasm, you hear a lot of people joke that it's the true last boss. It can make you salty. If it decides to call for help first turn, you'll have a serious problem. I recommend really never using a healing item in that first fight, because it's a good chance you're going to die. And if you run yourself out of healing items and die anyway, then you're going to hurt yourself in the long run. But both of our last runners didn't have a call for help, and they both killed their Protoplasm first try. It is possible that this could be where Silence makes up his time if Rivers here gets a bad spawn. But one thing you'll notice with Jeff, we don't just head straight down. It may look like he just walked like a little wonky path. The reason we take a diagonal path before those trees is it avoids a 100% spawn goat. It just skips a trigger there for him. Oh, man. Silence getting a bad fight in the graveyard. It looks like River's having a decent fight with the Protoplasm, and there it goes.
Hey, Vitonius.
Unfortunately, with Silence trying to run away from a fly, I would generally recommend at least killing the fly before you try to run. They are very fast. He got lucky. I mean, his chances of running there were, I mean, probably 20-30% max. Generally, in that situation, I'd kill the fly and get out. But the duck, much less of a problem than the protoplasms are. They can kill you. I've been killed by one a couple of times, but more often than not, it's going to do something related to psychic points, which Jeff has none of, so Jeff cares not. And not getting able to get the skip. He clipped it with Jeff that time, but even if he would have missed it with Jeff, Bubble Monkey would have bopped it, so... Failed call for help. So yeah, so far, in 3 protoplasm fights today, we haven't seen a call for help. They've actually been some good protoplasm fights. Unfortunately for Silence, this was a big chance if Rivers did have some bad luck there. This was a big time save spot for him. Because Rivers essentially has one less spot with spawns, and then it's on to Boogie Tent.
Cave here, you kind of see stutter stepping kind of comes into play. You're just trying to despawn as much as possible. You kind of stutter on the edge of the screen. You can kind of control where the enemies kind of turn up. Rivers with some really nice stutter steps here.
Yeah, I generally feel the second room in Pawn Cave is going to be the worst. With the 3 different rooms, each one of them has like 2 sections where mobs can spawn. And it's pretty common that you may see yourself going in and out of the door. I tend to get to a point that if I have more than just a couple of despawns, I'll take a double slug fight. Jeff can easily handle that as long as he has the HP going into it. I don't want to fight a rat. If I have to fight 3, I will. It's generally the only reason I'll fight 3 is if I get in a pickle, but fairly rare for that to happen in this area. You're generally not going back far enough to cause any extra spawns. We're gonna clear last section. And sometimes, I mean, I've had it come down to where I'll take a fight just so I can keep walking and go through a section. And then, of course, you always run into the either if you do something like that and you use iframes to get through enemies, and Bubble Monkey just decides, hey, I'm going to sit right here, right next to this mushroom, if you don't mind, and then you get to fight. Now, getting a much better third room.
These mushrooms here have kind of a small aggro radius. Rivers nicely avoiding that one, knew it would get caught by the barrier and just kind of stick itself there. But you kind of wiggle around those mushrooms sometimes. Like I said, the radius of them coming at you and aggroing you is fairly small compared to most other enemies.
Now, the way the spawns work, you've got the stutter steppable enemies. Things like your slugs that they will only move when you move. Then you have things like the boxes that they move in a straight path and they'll continue on their path until they hit something to stop and they won't move again. You then have your diagonal movers, which are generally your aliens, your the diamonds that you see. Those are fairly easy to get away from if you have to run at an angle, but if you're running in just a straight up or down or left or right path, they'll generally get you, especially left or right. Left or right, they'll zip to you real quick. You have your things like your mushrooms and your sprouts that they will only come after you on good green swirl by Silence, thanks to Monkey. One good thing that he does. Your mushrooms and your sprouts, they'll only move if you're close to them, and if you actually are close to them, but you quickly get out of their aggro radius before they commit, they won't move again. But if you get away from them after they move, they'll stop and they won't chase you. And then you have teleporters, which the only teleporters are Starmen. And then you have persistent moving enemies, there's Ramboobs, bears, cave boys. Those will always move, and if you pretty much just get anywhere like on screen in their line of sight, they'll come after you. It is a possibility. With Boogie Tent, since there is a teddy bear there, it makes it a little safer. But the teddy bear is not a guarantee of protection. Sometimes the enemy can decide that Jeff or Paula or Ness just looks a lot tastier than a teddy bear, and they'll go right after him. But really, for the case of just fighting the Boogie Tent, Jeff is really the only one that's ultra detrimental. We're both kind of doing cutscenes. Remember, the winner of this race and the winner of our previous race, Daniel, will be racing in our finals tomorrow. Winner gets an EarthBound cart. So I hope to see you all over there for that. And afterwards, I guess, Chimple, you know the details. I know we're doing some form of glitchless race after. I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, just kind of open invite. I think there's just a few of us already kind of willing to do it. We're just going to stream it here. Just kind of give people a full scope of the run. That's kind of an open thing. Anyone who wants to join can join in if you know the route. If you don't know the route and just want to kind of join in, that's cool too. But yeah, we'll be restreaming a few of the racers. You know, maybe whoever wins the finals can join in on the race. Maybe we'll feature them, and just kind of have a fun time with it. Get Skype open, and
we did that before in last March, and that was a really fun race.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
Well, yeah, for anyone coming in, this is just a Boogie Tent, so Rivers is very close. There is a chance for death on Boogie Tent, so it's not solidified until he finishes it. But there we go. There's our call for help, that our first one to see of the day. Unfortunately, the last time of the last runner to get there for the day. But this is what can happen in a protoplasm fight, calling for help. And oh, I thought he got another hit in. Yeah. Yeah, this is our last race for the day.
Yeah, this will all be happening tomorrow. It'll be the finals, and then we'll do the full glitchless race. Ooh, and there's some bad luck from Rivers.
Ooh. But we get a back attack from a zombie dog here. Teddy bear doing his paladin bear job. Good work. Running from a dog is a nightmare. I would recommend going with the freeze there, and he is. Oh, never mind. He decided to run away. I don't know how delayed. Okay, so I guess he got away from that. Oh. Yeah. I really hate living in 1995 rural Texas. Someday I will move back to a city and join modern society. Alright, pale green light. That's a good first turn. See how the bottle rocket goes.
Silence getting some protoplasm deaths.
Yep. 308's a pretty good bottle rocket. He should be fairly safe here. And ooh. Oh, this next rocket should end it.
There you have it.
There it goes.
So, Riversmccown making it to the finals. Clawing his way up the brackets. He will face DanielRGT.
And again, with that protoplasm, nothing you can really do about it sometimes. That call for help, it's sort of a nail biter as you're running, watching and seeing if it's going to work or not. But something that Silence tried to do there, if the duck spawns in the correct spots, typically around that middle divider, you can pull him down a bit and you can get past the duck. The duck skip is sort of a unicorn type thing, fairly rare to see it. But when it happens, it's quite beautiful. Much better second protoplasm.
Yes. So we'll watch this through for Silence, see how he does through the end here. We will definitely be back tomorrow, about 5 Eastern. We'll have the finals, and like I said, a glitchless race afterwards.
Yep. And assuming Silver and Silence, whenever they want to set up a third place race for the third place prize. But as of right now, our first or second place will either be Rivers or Daniel. Hopefully SRL will be up tomorrow. Get a little more coordination with that. SRL going down right before this was just extremely unfortunate.
Yep, that was pretty good timing.
Yeah, now it's up. I don't know how long it's been up, but it wasn't up when these two started.
Oh, it is back, okay. Yeah, again, congrats to Rivers. That is not an easy task, winning all those races. Silence with some nice stutter steps there.
Nah, he didn't just quit.
He just had a bad on it. He just couldn't recover.
Yeah, Rivers is already finished, but unfortunately, he had some additional bad luck here in winners. But Rivers had pretty exceptional brick road. And this is what I'm talking about with the mushrooms. You got to go all the way up and down the rope to get some of those spots to respawn. Yeah, and Silence is on the home stretch.
Yeah, he's just got a little UFO rad and a Boogie Tent fight. Yeah, the race will end after Boogie Tent. Yeah, nice race, guys. Well done. And just big thanks to everyone, all the racers, everyone who's participated, watched, hosted, you know, chatters, everyone. It's been a really fun time. We still have tomorrow to go. I'd like to just thank RPG Limit Break, Wexel, everyone over there that, you know, doing what they do for the RPG speedrun community, giving us these, you know, spots to feature the runs and the races, and, you know, everyone watching, all the hosts today. Alex for the commentary, the racers, everyone. It's been a really fun series. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Good question, 04213.
I don't see anyone else doing any runs.
No, I don't see any other EarthBound runs. So I'm open to suggestions. Yeah, I don't see any EV runs. So I don't know, anyone on SDA or, you know, someone running Final Fantasy or something, I'm up for whatever.
Say I got Omega's doing DKC3, and that's really it as far as speedruns on my list at the moment. Yeah, you got another week until daylight savings time.
Which daylight? Ooh, trick-or-treaters for Silence. Get some bad spawns getting out of the prison as well.
Fall back, Daniel. Ooh, we got Paula going down for Silence.
Ouch.
Ooh, yeah, unfortunately, sort of an insult to injury type fight. These guys are fairly fast. But he still has his teddy bear.
Hold on to that teddy bear. Alright, what is that marathon? I remember hearing about it. It's not the Sick Kids Marathon, is it?
Oh, no, the California Fire Relief.
That's what it is.
Whose channel is that on?
I'm not sure. I remember seeing it earlier. Osei 889. Yeah, let's go there. Whose channel is the California?
You beat me to it, and I didn't want to hit. I just didn't want to delete it. It's a lot easier just to hit enter and go with it.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
Wait, is Silence just going to Boogie Tent with Ness? Uh-oh.
Just Ness. All right. Daniel pleading.
The only possible way this is gonna work is if he gets pretty much a max roll on all of these.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the risky of the riskies. Yeah, with that status element, he's not going to be hitting accurately.
I think he's only going to hit for 1 damage anyway.
Right.
I know he's hitting for 7, but still, he's got a ways to go.
Oh, there it is.
All right. Well, that means tomorrow, River and Daniel will be doing our championship. I just probably go ahead and pass out the links and all that before we switch the host over.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
That's all good, Silence. It was a valiant effort.
Okay, yeah, so we will be back with this tomorrow if you'd like to see more. And if you like EarthBound, we'll be doing a race. It'll be fun. Fun commentary. We're going to try to get everyone involved and the winner of the whole thing. And once again, thank you, Wexel, RPG Limit Break. You guys are awesome. Everything you do for our little nook and cranny of the speedrunning community. It's pretty awesome. We are going to raid Osei.
Forget. Hold on. Give the links out to people for thing. I don't know what the bot commands are.
Oh, for info?
Yeah.
We'll get all that out there.
So what message are we going to go over there with?
Good question. What are they playing? Final Fantasy VI?
Mm-hmm.
What's a good Final Fantasy VI inside joke reference?
Something with Boogie. Someone in chat, give us something good with Boogie.
I'm terrible with raid messages.
Yeah, like Ultra's Boogie Tent doesn't work.
Ultra's Boogie. That's not too
bad. I guess like Ultra's Boogie is a thing for FS6 in the joke, but I don't know. Let's just do Ultra's Boogie. I think that'll work.
Okay. Yeah, we'll give it to the winner. We'll go with Ultra's Boogie.
So thank you all very much again. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yep, see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you very much.